Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by Casey Shepard, a ballet dancer with Ballet Virginia and the content creator of TheBallerinaBows. I met Casey in 2017 at a Richmond Ballet Summer Intensive where she trained as a trainee for 2 years. So hi Casey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
We're so excited to have you. Before you started your blog, The Ballerina Bows, you created this Instagram page where you were sharing all of these wonderful outfits for just dance, which I thought was so cool because you always say these things for like everyday wear, not so much for ballet. So,
right.
Yeah, exactly. So, would you like to share like what inspired you to take that journey?
Yeah, so when I was a trainee at Richmond Ballet, we always had to wear uniforms except on Saturdays. And I was like living for Saturdays. And I would get so excited to like put together my leotard and skirts and accessories and of course my bow. I always have my bow. And people just started commenting and they were always saying that they were excited to see what I put together. And I was like, man, it would be so cool if I started some kind of Instagram page because like you said, you always see it with lifestyle bloggers, like people posting everyday wear, their look of the day, but we didn't have that for ballet dancers. So it was something I kind of thought I might want to do. And then when I received my contract with Ballet Virginia, I kind of felt like I might have a little bit more street cred now with the contract. And also I would be wearing whatever I wanted. I could wear leg warmers to class. I could wear whatever leotard I wanted. I didn't have to wear a uniform. So once I started my journey with Ballet Virginia and being a professional company dancer, I decided to go for it. And now we have a website, a blog, we're on Pinterest. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. I feel like
Thank
those
you.
like big life moments are definitely easier to take those jumps. Because like, have you thought of pursuing something similar before you had gotten your contract with Ballet Virginia?
I had thought about it, but I probably wouldn't have had the nerve to do it. There's something about like either getting like a good part or getting your professional contract, getting promoted that kind of makes you realize like, okay, I have the confidence to believe in myself and other people are believing in me. Why don't I just take that leap of faith and go for
Well,
it?
we're so glad that you did.
Yeah,
um,
thank you.
yeah, of course. So, as this has expanded, tell us
hmm
why you created the blog and how you've gone forward with it.
Sure. It was something in the back of my mind because with Instagram, it's super fun to be able to post a photo, but I realized I had so much more to say behind that. And I also, as a company dancer, I was trying to have more experiences. I wanted to give advice and give some wisdom to the younger dancers out there. And also, I had received and I had worked so hard to get my nutrition and healthy life certificate from Cornell Online. So I wanted to expand to not only talk about beauty and fashion in the dance world, but also to talk about nutrition. And I thought a blog would be a great space for that.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I saw that you got your nutrition certification through
hmm
Cornell, which is such an amazing accomplishment. Um,
Thank you.
and I've been talking, as you know, a
hmm
little bit more about my issues with body image and my relationship with food on this channel as of
hmm
recently. So, would you like to tell us a little bit more about your relationship with food as a professional dancer, but also as a normal human being and trying to find that balance?
Yes, it's all about balance. And it's interesting. When I first started dancing with Ballet Virginia, I didn't diet, I didn't restrict. But within my first month of dancing with the company, I dropped a lot of weight. And it wasn't because of anything I was doing differently as far as eating, but I realized dancing 6 hours a day, doing some of the most complicated, either like a pas de deux or having new works created on me, I needed to fuel my body so much more than I was doing. And it wasn't just so much for putting on the weight that I had lost, but also at a lighter weight, I wasn't the dancer I could be. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't fueling my body. So understanding that your body is your instrument and you have to fuel it. You have to have a good balance with food. And I've noticed that so many dancers, unfortunately, are carb phobic, fat phobic, and what we need to realize is carbs give us the energy to get through a long rehearsal. It's our body's primary source of fuel. It's our body's favorite source of fuel. So you have to be okay with eating complex carbs and responding to your hunger cues, knowing that even after a long night of shows, you need to go back home and eat a good dinner so that way you're able to do it day after day, and really just finding that good balance between fueling my body for what it needs to do as a dancer and athlete, but also having the human side too. Like this morning I went out and I got pancakes for breakfast.
Oh, that was
And that's
so good.
yeah, it sounds so good, and it was good. And that's the balance like we need to have as dancers, to recognize that our body, yes, is our instrument. We need to fuel it and fuel it properly, but we are humans first, and we need to have real human experiences, and food is part of that.
And that's such an important realization for you to have had. I think one of the best pieces of advice I've heard from a director of mine is there's all these beautiful different types of bodies, and a lot of them the thin ballerina frame that we're so accustomed to seeing portrayed in media. It's great that they look like that, but without that element of strength, you're never going to be the best dancer that you can be.
Definitely. And I felt that for sure when I was like, why can I not jump as high? Why am I not turning like I used to turn? I've always taken pride in the fact that I was a turner. And when I lost that weight, like I said, I wasn't dieting or doing anything differently, but I wasn't fueling myself for the energy requirements my body was having to be dancing at a company level. And my body felt the impact, and getting back to a healthy place was the best thing for my health, but also for my dancing.
Yes, definitely. And it's so frustrating when you know what you're capable of and you feel like you have this thing holding you back.
You know, it's like we are almost worst enemies. Sometimes we're like our biggest critic and we're our biggest enemies, in the sense that sometimes just having the confidence and having the self-assurance to trust ourselves, to know what we need to do, whether it's with our dancing or with our eating, that could be the thing that's holding us back, and we need to trust ourselves and allow ourselves to do it.
Yeah, especially at the intensity of a professional dancer, because your schedule's packed, so there's not a lot
It
of
is
time.
pretty crazy. Yeah, now that we're getting back into the swing of things, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't have free time now.
Well, speaking of nutrition, I've seen your awesome ebook and your dancer food guide. So would you like to share a little bit more information about those things that you've created and how we can get a hold of them?
Yeah, for sure. So you can get either one, the eating guide or recipe book, either as a print copy or a digital PDF that I can send you. All you have to do is email me at TheBallerinaBows@yahoo.com. And I wanted to create an eating guide which just kind of broke down the different macronutrients and what and why they're so important for having in a balanced lifestyle, because I talk a lot about balance, and I really learned through getting my certificate that it's important to have all food groups in your diet. And I had mentioned earlier that dancers tend to be pretty carb phobic and pretty fat phobic, and breaking down the importance of each macronutrient in the nutrition guide and also giving examples, I hope that I'm able to give some dancers who may be struggling the comfort to know, okay, this is what this carbohydrate is doing for me, and this is why it's good. And the same thing with fats. Like, fats help your cognitive ability so much. So if you're in rehearsal and you feel like your brain is foggy and you can't pick up choreography as quickly as you used to, you're probably restricting your fat a little bit. Try to eat some walnuts, and you'll notice that your brain might be working a little bit better, and also your joints will thank you. A lot of people are still dancing on hardwood floors, and making sure that you have those omega-3s in there are really important. And those are the types of things I talk about in my eating guide. And then the recipe books, it's full of some of my favorite healthy recipes that are also really easy to make and super cheap, because we're all on a dancer budget, and we're also on dancer schedules. Like I mentioned, it's really crazy. So having something to go, throw together that's good for you, but also super easy and super cheap is always the best.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we have these resources available, especially for younger dancers, because everyone's on social media right now, and unfortunately there's a lot of, like you said, carb phobic, fat transphobic information out there that they're absorbing. So it's so great that to have from a professional dancer all of this experience that you've gone through and your knowledge behind it, so they know how they can properly fuel themselves.
Right. Yeah. And I almost felt like I was talking to my younger self when I was talking about the eating guide, because I was there too, and you were there with me as trainees. Like, we look up to the older generation, and now part of being a company, I want to be a good example for the younger dancers out there who are afraid to eat a sandwich on bread, who feel like they shouldn't go out to eat with their family because they want to look like a ballerina. And they should enjoy life. Like I said, food is part of life experience, but I also want them to have comfort in knowing, okay, here are some like healthier options too, so that way you can find that balance in your life.
That's great. Yeah. So in a way, it's like you're giving this advice to your younger self and giving back
everything I wish I had heard.
Yes. And that's so great that you're able to do that for us.
Thank you.
So how has being in quarantine the past several months changed how you've created content for the Ballerina Bows?
Well, one, health is even more important now than ever. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, so sharing those health tips as much as I can is really important. But also, I'm a dance supply ambassador, and I have noticed, and the entire arts world is just going through an economic struggle, and a lot of dancers are, and unfortunately there are so many professional dancers that I know who are either working for no pay or lesser pay. There's a lot of dance students whose parents might be furloughed or laid off, and they don't have the funds that they used to. So with dance supplies, I'm able to highlight whenever we're having sales. I'm able to share coupon codes, and so dancers can really get the essentials that they need. But I've also focused on sharing tips for how to save money when you do need to get a new leotard, or maybe you do want to treat yourself and get a really fun custom leotard, but also save some money. And also tips for how to make your essential things like your point shoes and your tights and your flat shoes last a little bit longer. So that way we can all save an extra buck right now.
Yeah, and you've been so generous with your following and community with sharing all of these tips. She's always posting on her stories all of these wonderful resources, and it's been so helpful for me. So I'm sure that anyone following her feels the same. So all of her Instagram and blog and website and all of that will be linked in the description for your convenience. And I'm also going to link her email if you're interested in her recipe book or the dancer nutrition guide. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about some upcoming things for the blog?
Oh, well, I'm hoping to expand to also share some outside of the studio wear. I find that dancers, because we're always on the go and we're going in between like rehearsals or class or maybe teaching ballet, I wanted to share some looks and fashion that you can wear that are comfortable for either teaching or for going to the studio. A lot of people have to like walk to their studio because they live in like a city area. So I wanted to hopefully expand and do things along that line as far as being comfortable and like kind of leisure clothing. So sharing tips with that, but I also am hoping to do some more collabs, talk to some big dance companies. I have like some really exciting getting to know blogs coming up, so keep your eyes out for that.
Yeah, I've been loving the series so far. It's been so great.
It's been so much fun. I mean, I've been able to talk to like the creators of Lucky Leo and some awesome other dance lines that I can't really share quite yet, but it's been an incredible experience, and I'm so excited to have you featured in one of them coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see all of that. And I'm looking forward to what you just mentioned, going more into the outerwear, because I feel like for me, when I'm in heavy rehearsal periods, I go through those periods where I'm just like wearing my warm-ups over my leotard all the time, and I don't really think much about my other style. So I think it's grounding to have that balance there too.
Definitely. It helps like give you a human side to your life, especially when hopefully when we all get back to lots of crazy rehearsals, we'll be even more having a human side to our dancing side as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been so great chatting with you and catching up. So thank you so much for joining us, Casey.
Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun.
I hope you enjoyed today's video with Casey. Thank you so much for coming on to talk with us today. All of Casey's information will be linked in the description, as well as the getting to know you interview she did with me on her blog. So be sure to check all of that out, and I will see you guys next time.